So, are you serious? I find this question percolating in my consciousness for the last few weeks. It seems to get at the core of how the left and right sides of the brain process reality in significantly different ways, seriously different ways. And so, what is the word origins of serious? And this is something you can play with. It's kind of interesting to see how words end up in our language. And all kinds of interesting concepts are associated with the word serious: heavy, grave, weighty, slow. And what could this weighty kind of heaviness come from? Well, I've talked about this in other videos, how the left brain is the side of the brain that brings the past. In the past, nothing could be more weightier or heavier or dense than the past, or the potential futures that we hypothesize. And those are both very serious. I mean, think about it, just the past and the future are themselves the heavy, the weight. And they may really get at the core of what we mean when we say, are you taking this issue seriously? So I'm just going to give you two simple examples of how these two modes of being serious, which is the left brain, and the other side of the equation, play, which is what I think the right brain does. When we're in the moment and present, I think that that defines a completely different mode of existence. And as I've always said, we're really experiencing an imbalance in most parts of our culture where we're just too serious, and so in a way, am I being serious about being serious? And I hope I'm not. But if we look at language, language is a great example. So aspects of language processed by the left hemisphere are grammar and spelling. These are two things about language. And you think about these rules and how, if you've ever gotten a paperback and it's maybe, a brilliant paper, but you spelled this word incorrectly, or you used this and you had a period. And I did this with my first book. I kind of played with language, and I would, instead of doing an ellipsis, like we'd have three periods at the end of a sentence, I would just do three commas or four commas at one place. And this was not taken very well. People got a very serious, kind of heavy sense with this, and you can't break those rules. And so when the left brain deals with language, it does it in a very serious way. Now the interesting thing is that the right brain does language too, but it doesn't do it seriously. So the right brain, when it processes language, it's all about sarcasm, irony, and paradox. And all of these, the thing that they have in common is, again, you can't take them seriously. You can't take a metaphor seriously. In fact, people who have right brain damage, so that system is offline, when you're interacting with them and you use a metaphor or you use something that you're trying to be sarcastic or ironic about, they will take it seriously and they will take it literally. And so we know that the right brain doesn't take that surface level and it doesn't process it. It's always about something a little bit deeper. And then the same thing holds for music. And so we know the right brain is the processing center for music. And and one of my favorite assignments I did with students, I said, what does music mean to you? And I got these wonderful, long responses where people went, how meaningful music is to them. Although it doesn't do anything, they don't get a paycheck for it. These were not professional musicians. And people who have a left brain stroke and can't even speak are able to sing often, because singing and melody and the rhythm of music are all processed by the right brain. And that's the playful aspect of music. And the interesting thing, though, of course, is once you become a professional, so say you're a professional musician, all of these wonderful play aspects of music become shifted over to the left brain, and then they become more serious. And so you can take anything. You can take language and you can be serious about it, or you can play, and you can take music and you can do the exact same thing. So it's not like the two sides of the brain are themselves processing different types of things. They're just processing those same things in much different ways. And so this is just something to use as a meditation through whatever you're dealing with. Are you processing it in a serious way? Are you serious about it? And again, it's always interesting that the word you gets put in there too. And I think that that's one of the things that we take most seriously is ourselves. And it wasn't very long ago where people were much more playful. They were much more likely to make fun of themselves. And a study showed that people just don't do this anymore. They're far less likely to joke and make self jokes, and see themselves in a light way instead of the seriousness that seems to have fallen upon us in recent times. So check that out as a meditation. Just ask yourself, am I serious? Am I serious about being serious? And get back to me, see how that works, see what you think of it. Have some fun and play with it. You can play with being serious, but you can't really be serious about play. I don't think so. So let me know what you think.